So we're not far from the first horizontal tree. And I glance down and I see 3 sticks about the same length, all parallel to each other, just right on the edge of the path that I'm on.
All right, listen up. This isn't your typical Bigfoot story. We're diving into trail cam footage so creepy, it's leaving even the hardcore skeptics scratching their heads. Captured deep in remote forests, far from civilization, these clips might just be the proof everyone's been waiting for. From massive footprints to something lurking just out of frame, we're breaking down every eerie detail, frame by frame. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be questioning everything. Let's get into it.
The face is here at first, but not.
Max Powers is a YouTube channel famous for its deep dives into the mystery of Bigfoot, with Max himself dedicating his life to uncovering evidence of this elusive being. Decades ago, he had a sighting in the woods of New Hampshire, and since then he's been drawn to the idea that something is lurking in the wilderness. His investigations have now led him to Cape Cod, where he believes Bigfoot has found a way to navigate across the canal and settle in the dense forests. Sitting in his home, Max sorts through years of footage and notes, piecing together a trail of clues that seem to confirm his long-standing theory. His research takes him deep into the woods, and right from the start, he stumbles upon something unusual. A large horizontal tree, snapped at both ends, lies about 7 feet above the ground.
I find a tree horizontal, just like horizontal, both ends snapped off, maybe 7 feet off the ground, I would say.
There's a stump nearby, but it doesn't align with the fallen tree, suggesting it was placed there rather than naturally falling.
Don't think it could have fallen that way. It would have had to been, in my opinion, that tree was wedged.
The sheer size and positioning make Max question whether this is just an accident of nature or something far more intentional. Watch closely. The evidence speaks for itself. As he continues, another pattern emerges. 3 sticks, all of similar length, lying parallel to each other at the edge of a path. This isn't a marked hiking trail, just a barely visible pathway in the woods.
So we're not far from the first horizontal tree, and I glance down and I see 3 sticks about the same length, all parallel to each other, just right on the edge of the path that I'm on.
But Max has seen this exact formation too many times before to dismiss it as coincidence. To him, it's a subtle sign, a deliberate marking left behind by something with intelligence. With every new find, his confidence in his theory grows. Bigfoot isn't just passing through, it's actively moving through this land. See for yourself, the details are too precise to ignore. Further into the investigation, Max reaches an area near Big Scrub Pond. Here he discovers 2 massive trees, seemingly placed against each other in a way that defies natural logic. While windstorms could explain the fallen trees behind them, these 2 appear carefully positioned, almost as if they were deliberately arranged. The structure is massive, and while Max isn't sure whether to call it a glyph, a shelter, or something else entirely.
Is it a structure? Is it a glyph? I don't know what it is. But they are found often and well documented throughout New England.
The way it's formed is suspiciously precise. He invites viewers to examine the structure and decide for themselves. What are the odds this happened naturally? Max's research area has always been filled with strange tree formations, but this time he finds something different. A twisted white pine stands out among the usual oak tree breaks. Unlike the previous finds, this tree isn't snapped, it's just twisted. Native Americans once marked trails using bent trees, but the method they used is different from what Max is seeing here. Could this be another form of communication or territory marking? If so, who or what is responsible? He's seen plenty of breaks, but a single twisted tree? That's something new. The pattern continues to build. Then comes a more obvious contrast, an unmistakable human-made structure. A large bushcraft shelter stands among the trees, its ends neatly cut, its logs arranged in near-perfect uniformity. Unlike the previous finds, this one is clearly man-made, but it serves as a key comparison. The logs are methodically placed, their lengths almost identical, and there's a clear interior space for a person to fit inside. The distinction is important. When humans build something in the woods, the patterns are clear. But when Bigfoot, or whatever is out here, leaves a mark, the evidence doesn't fit human logic. Max's discoveries in the area challenge conventional thinking, making it harder to dismiss these signs as mere natural accidents. Every trip into the woods adds another piece to the puzzle. Max isn't just chasing legends, he's collecting tangible evidence. Whether it's strategically placed logs, eerie tree formations, or unusual breaks, the patterns keep appearing. It's up to the viewer to decide if this is all just coincidence or proof of something living in the shadows. The question remains, is Bigfoot really out here, leaving these signs for those who dare to look?
Hey fam, ready for nightmares? Check out Knock Knock for the scariest, most bone-chilling encounters caught on camera. Link in the description. If you dare.
Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group is a YouTube channel famous for its dedicated and serious investigations into Bigfoot and skunk ape activity across Central Florida.
Hi, this is Marie Dumont with the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team. I'm out here in the Pacific Northwest for Ruby Joe Brew. Hello. Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hi.
Led by Marie Dumont, the team's goal is simple yet profound: to raise awareness and prove the existence of these elusive beings in the wilds of Florida. But on this particular outing, they find themselves far from home, deep in the Pacific Northwest, exploring the ancient and shadowy landscape of the Colville National Forest. It's a cool, quiet morning as they set out into an area known as Gypsy Meadow. The forest here feels untouched by time. Towering cedar trees loom overhead, their trunks weathered and massive, as if guarding secrets that date back centuries. The ground underfoot is soft and wet from recent rains. A washed-out stream cuts its way through the meadow, its banks slick with thick mud. It's along this lonely stretch of water that something catches their attention.
And we came across these. They look like huge
they look like they're older, but
impressions.
they look like...
Scattered across the muddy ground are impressions. Large ones, spaced in a pattern that suggests deliberate movement. They're not fresh, but they're distinct, and their size is impossible to ignore. What lies before them could be evidence of something extraordinary.
In this muddy spot by a little creek, it runs over there,
Right
and
next
there's
to an
actual
ancient-
some prints over there. But
Oh.
look, this looks like a ancient cedar forest area.
As Marie surveys the area, she describes how the prints are found in an ancient cedar forest, near a muddy creek that winds away into the dense woods. The place is quiet, remote, and unmarked by any typical hiking trails. It's not a game trail, and there's no sign of other human visitors. It's as though they have stepped into a forgotten place. They move slowly and carefully, following the impressions that weave their way through the mud, vanishing and then reappearing farther along the creek bed. These aren't random marks. There's an undeniable rhythm to them, a purposeful gait that seems to lead somewhere deeper into the forest.
So it's
You might find a really
very interesting. Just curious what the
Oh,
size
now I
of
can tell
this
you.
one is.
I can tell you from the scan, it is 16.
16 and probably 6 inches
8.
wide, right?
The team takes a closer look at the size and shape of these mysterious impressions. One of the tracks measures 16 inches in length. The front is nearly 7 inches wide, tapering down to a heel that's just over 5 inches across. It's massive, far larger than any human foot, and broader as well. Even without clear toe impressions, the depth and spread of the track are compelling. What's more, these aren't isolated prints. More tracks are found on the other side of the creek, circling around the area as though something large and heavy had moved with intent. The way they're spaced and the direction they move tell a silent story of something or someone passing through. The group keeps their focus, fully aware that this is not a common find. The prints don't follow any marked trail, and the path they revealed is not one of a typical animal. There's no evidence of bear or elk. It's as if the creature that made them chose its path carefully, sticking close to the muddy edges of the water, staying hidden beneath the cover of the thick underbrush. They wonder aloud about the possibilities, noting the differences in size between some of the tracks, perhaps indicating more than one creature. One impression looks smaller, as though it may belong to a younger individual following an adult. The evidence points to a pattern, not a coincidence. Watch the full investigation yourself and decide what's really out there. World Bigfoot Central is a YouTube channel famous for sharing up-to-date news and stories about Bigfoot, strange creatures, the paranormal, and even hidden science and conspiracies. In August 2024, Duke and Johnny Charlo revisit Mount Sentinel and Coloma, places where they've had serious Bigfoot encounters before. During their trips on August 19th, 22nd, and 25th, they search old hotspots for signs of activity. They find impressive tracks measuring 12, 15, 19, and even 22 inches. The area also has old structures, including a 25-foot arch and a teepee where they once filmed a 12-foot-tall Bigfoot called Mr. Big. They're back now to see if the Sasquatch have returned.
So anyway, there used to be a Sasquatch hanging around in this area. We found structures and tracks. And
on their way up Mount Sentinel, Duke explains how this area used to be full of stick structures and tracks until people found his videos and came up to cut things down. Now he's back, scanning for new signs. As he rests on the ridge, he lays out his gear: a camera, a tape measure, and even a Bigfoot field guide. Then he starts searching the ridge top, looking for clues. Off in the distance, he spots areas where he believes the Sasquatch might still be. Watch closely. The scenery is rugged and remote. Thick forest fire smoke hangs in the air as Duke climbs a steep slope, preparing to investigate. He reminds viewers that having basic tools like a tape measure is crucial when searching for Bigfoot evidence. Not long after, he stumbles upon a hidden structure, possibly built by the creatures. Unlike before, this one isn't visible from the old access road, making it less likely humans found and destroyed it. He wonders, could Bigfoot have returned and rebuilt? Look carefully at the area he's exploring. Later, he reads a chilling story from Bigfoot Michigan Rob's book. It tells of a Wyoming biologist in 1972 who survived a terrifying Bigfoot encounter. The creature stalks his tent, throws pine cones at him, and even swats his shelter flat with a hairy, human-like hand. Duke reflects on a similar experience from his childhood.
like 3 or 4 times it threw something at me, and a couple times I saw what it was. The last 3, time number 3 and not time number 4, they were acorns.
When something threw acorns at him in a pine forest, acorns that shouldn't have even been there. Strange happenings like this are often reported in Bigfoot territory. Pay attention to these patterns. Returning to the ridge, Duke spots a possible structure between 2 large trees. He guides the viewers toward it for a closer look. This spot was once loaded with stick formations and evidence of Sasquatch. He then heads to another area where they left apples as bait. From a distance, he can see the apples are untouched. Something odd catches his eye. An old tree stump that was there earlier is now gone.
Thunderstorm rolling in, being on an exposed ridge line. This isn't a good place to be. So I guess I'm not going to be able to do any more filming today.
As thunder rumbles in the distance, he decides to pack up before the storm hits. These moments capture the eerie feeling of the place. Later in the week, Duke and Johnny head back to Coloma. Johnny takes point searching the gully basin while Duke follows along the old roadbed. They're trying to find the exact spot where Johnny once caught something peeking at him between 2 trees.
Again, about the same size. Mr. 15-inch track here, running up and down the hillside.
As they search, Johnny spots a fresh 15-inch track. Duke confirms it by measuring it on camera. Johnny notes that once you know what to look for, finding tracks becomes easier. The team finds several more deep impressions, solid evidence that something heavy is moving through this area. Watch for the footprint details as they measure. Blue Line Bigfoot is a YouTube channel known for its Bigfoot encounters, often exploring remote regions of New York. In this episode, Jake and Adam travel to the rugged wilderness of the Adirondack Park to meet with Barb Hotez, a local resident with a chilling story. What begins as a casual interview soon turns into one of their most intense investigations yet. Barb claims she came face to face with something unexplainable, something massive, right in her own backyard. This might be the start of something bigger in the Bigfoot community.
Jake and I, we heard through the grapevine that you had a personal experience here with a creature.
Bigfoot.
It all happened back in 2012, in that strange time between winter and spring. Barb recalls it was raining as dusk settled over her home. She was watching TV when her dog, Bo, suddenly started barking. At first, she thought he needed to go out, but Bo's reaction was different this time. He stood frozen on the deck, his hair bristling, growling at something in the distance. That's when Barb saw it. A huge figure stood by the tree line. At first glance, she thought it was a man, but as she got a better look, the truth became more terrifying. It wasn't a man at all. It was something bigger, covered in long, matted hair, and it carried a stench that hit her hard, a foul, rotting garbage smell. When she fired her gun twice in the air, the creature turned and disappeared into the woods in just a few steps.
Bigfoot, you're just gonna come out and say it.
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
I'm telling you, he was Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, okay.
I think it's 2012. It's either April or March. I can't remember.
Since that night, things around Barb's property have never been the same. The woods that once felt peaceful now feel empty and tense. Deer that used to roam freely vanished. She hasn't seen a single one in over 5 months. Every morning, food she leaves out is mysteriously gone. And on calm nights, eerie sounds echo through the trees, sounds that she can't explain. They're loud, unnatural, and enough to keep her indoors after dark. Barb admits she now locks her doors and avoids areas she once loved, like the berry patches down the trail.
I was watching TV. Bo started barking. I thought he had to go out. I came to the back door, let him out.
She's lived in the mountains for 14 years without fear, but this encounter changed everything. See what we mean. When describing the creature, Barb is clear. Its hair was long, almost ape-like but matted, maybe from the rain. She couldn't make out its face well, but its size and smell made it clear it wasn't any animal she'd seen before. She's hunted bear before, and this was no bear. The foul odor left when the creature did, confirming to her that it came from the beast itself. Even now, Barb feels uneasy about what's down in those woods. She's sure it's still out there. Watch the evidence.
Describe the hair on him at all?
Long.
Long.
Long hair. It wasn't short. It was long hair.
Despite the fear, Barb keeps a camera close, just in case. If she ever sees it again, she plans to get proof, and then run. But it's clear the encounter has changed her life. What was once her safe haven now feels like something she needs to protect herself from. It's not just the physical presence of the creature that lingers, but the fear of the unknown. She hasn't picked berries since. She won't wander her property like she used to.
He just really scared me. As I said, I couldn't get a good look at his face. He did look at me, but as I said, it was starting to get dark. But he had hair on his face.
And for someone who once called Long Island home, where people were the real danger, that says a lot. See the shift in her life. Jake and Adam end this visit convinced Barb is telling the truth. The emotion in her voice, the details in her story. Everything lines up. Something unknown might still roam the Adirondack. Timber Giant. Bigfoot is a YouTube channel known for its methodical and persistent exploration of the dense forests of southern Ontario. For years, the creator has documented strange occurrences in the wilderness, sounds in the distance, broken trees, and fleeting shadows. But in one video, he captures something that has stirred both curiosity and debate, an uncut, unedited piece of footage that some believe shows a family of Sasquatch, hidden in plain sight.
I thought it was a wood knocker. It's more of that nut-breaking sound I heard. I recorded back here.
It begins quietly. The camera pans across thick undergrowth, nothing unusual at first glance. Then, something stirs. A large tree branch bends downward as if under significant weight. There's no sign of a bird or animal on the limb, and the movement seems purposeful, controlled, before the branch snaps back into place. It's as if someone, or something, is manipulating the forest from within. Then, something more. Just above the dense vegetation, a shape appears.
Oh, come on. It's right there. I don't have my glasses on. Look at that.
At first, it's easy to dismiss as another tree or a trick of the light. But as Timber Giant zooms in, the outline of a conical head becomes clear. Sloped, with a distinct brow line and the faint suggestion of facial features, a nose, a mouth, barely visible through the leaves. What follows adds to the mystery.
I'm looking down there. I don't see it at all with my eye, but I can kind of see it on the screen. It's gone now. There it is.
Timber Giant suggests that what we're seeing may not be just one creature, but three. He points out what could be two smaller figures clinging to the larger one's side. Their forms blend into the surroundings. Dark fur, unmoving bodies, but subtle details emerge. There are hints of hands, faces, and even what looks like an eye reflecting the sunlight. In an attempt to reveal more, Timber Giant inverts the footage.
What the fuck have I done? No.
The shadows shift, and details that were hidden become clearer. A small face seems to appear. An eye, a nose, and the faint gleam of a tooth in what could be an open mouth. For a moment it looks as if the figure blinks. An eyelid closes, then opens. The proportions are unusual, different from any known animal in the region. As the video continues, the scene grows stranger. One of the smaller figures appears to ride on the back of the larger one, its tiny hand gripping tightly to thick fur. The face is small but distinct. It shifts slightly, as if reacting to something unseen.
I can hear it moving. You see that? It just got up and...
While the hand reaches out, possibly for food, or to hold on tighter. Then, there's a moment of confusion. A shadow passes, and what looks like an open mouth becomes visible. But Timber Giant clarifies, it's an illusion caused by a leaf hanging in the foreground. The creature isn't baring its teeth in aggression. It's an arm shifting behind the foliage. Near the end of the video, something remarkable happens. A glint of light catches what appears to be an eye. It's watching, alert, and then, just as quickly as it appeared, a small figure darts across the frame, moving with speed and precision. Timber Giant believes this may be one of the young moving away from the adult, only to be retrieved moments later. The footage is raw, unpolished. There are no flashy edits or sensational claims.
I hope it doesn't come up behind me.
Just a camera, a forest, and something watching. Skeptics will say it's shadows and imagination, but others see something more. Timber Giant Bigfoot's footage remains one of the most intriguing glimpses into the unknown. A moment frozen in time, where the boundary between myth and reality seems to blur. The forests of southern Ontario are vast and unforgiving, and perhaps they're still hiding something. Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization is a YouTube channel famous for its detailed investigations and weekly updates about Bigfoot sightings across the Rocky Mountains and the Pacific Northwest. Their latest video takes viewers deep into Navajo tribal lands near Ganado, Arizona, where a strange Sasquatch-like creature is reportedly seen moving between the communities of Steamboat and Greasewood.
We've been told stories from Steamboat, Greasewood, and Navajo Station, but always don't bother them.
The story begins with an image said to have been captured by an elder woman while tending livestock in a canyon area south of her homestead. She describes hearing unsettling noises before spotting an unknown creature staring back at her from the canyon's edge. Fearing for her safety, she quickly snaps a photo and flees the scene, later driving her livestock home and refusing to return to that spot for quite some time. According to her family, the creature was spotted again only days later. Locals from Steamboat to Greasewood and Navajo Station have long spoken of strange sightings and sounds in the area, often warning each other not to approach or disturb these beings. Many who live there choose not to walk alone, always carrying some form of protection due to frequent reports of eerie encounters. The family shares that, although they never intended for the photo to circulate on social media, they aren't surprised it did, given how many stories have come from this region. Watch closely as Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization enlarges the image, examining the creature's stance and noting how it appears to be looking upward from its position in the canyon.
She was able to chase the sheep back and did not go back for a long time. She did tell the family about it, and we were loading up with rifles.
Moving forward, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization revisits a report from May 22, 2007, where a security camera on the Navajo reservation purportedly captured footage of a massive 9-foot-tall Bigfoot carrying a deer carcass. Months after this sighting surfaced online, another witness comes forward on July 31, 2022.
But we're told, no, leave it alone, as no one was sure what it was. I heard it was seen again a few days later, but I'll tell you.
He claims his brother took a photo of a similar creature just 5 miles from their family ranch. His account adds more to the mystery, describing how their neighbors saw 2 smaller Bigfoots playing in a wash nearby.
In this area of the res, weird things are seen and heard quite a bit. I didn't think this pic would get its way on social media, but I guess I'm not surprised either.
He believes these are juvenile Bigfoots captured just 300 yards from his mother's house. In the photo, the creature appears to be dragging a piece of lumber, which may have been salvaged from a shed that had blown down during high winds. Rangers and Navajo Nation officials were reportedly snooping around the area the day after the photo was posted online.
We've been told stories from Steamboat, Greasewood, and Navajo Station, but always don't bother them.
The witness describes how dogs in the area bark at these creatures but stay at a distance, and recalls childhood memories of seeing similar beings. Family elders mention old stories of shapeshifters and beings that travel underground, suggesting this could explain why Bigfoot sightings remain elusive.
We try not to walk alone, and we try to always carry protection if we do. Our dogs are getting old.
The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization zooms in on the photo, pointing out what appears to be a deer carcass in the creature's arms. Its head and face become visible, along with a leg hanging near the deer's head. Both the witness and the investigators agree. This could very well be a Bigfoot encounter on Navajo tribal lands.
But now keep their distance every time maybe the adult ones do scream. Rocks have been thrown at the dogs. Brother went to show a good family friend the photo.
As the investigation continues, reports of another creature emerge.
Her elder said the natives used to hunt them. Also, that they may be part of a shape-shifting community. Reason no one has ever really seen them. They are also mentioned,
often referred to as the Mogollon Monster. People describe it as standing 7 feet tall, weighing close to 400 pounds,
that if a shape-shifting animal, it will use the underground to move. We have been getting random people stopping by, and it weirds my mom out, so it's all hush at the moment.
And covered in reddish-brown hair. Not long ago, researchers find large Bigfoot tracks northeast of Sawmill Lake, just across the New Mexico border near Shiprock.
My personal RMSO opinion is the subject does, in fact, look like it could be a Bigfoot, and zooming in on it, it appears to be carrying a deer.
The San Juan River becomes a hotspot for sightings and evidence, including a striking photograph captured by Bigfoot investigator Dave Oz. His reports from the Four Corners region and New Mexico suggest significant ongoing activity. According to him,
you can see its head and face, along with one leg hanging down near the deer head. Both parties do in fact believe it is a Bigfoot on Navajo tribal lands, however the size of the creature.
Bigfoot sightings around the Mogollon Rim of Arizona remain frequent, although strangely underreported by nearby camp hosts. Dave recounts knowing a woman who camped near the site where Travis Walton and his logging crew allegedly encountered aliens in the 1970s. She eventually stops camping there after witnessing both gray aliens and Bigfoot activity.
People will also talk about strange vocalizations, footprints, rocks thrown, tree branch structures, and that's a good place to start as well. RMS will respond.
Events, she claims, are still happening today. In one chilling account from 3 years ago, a police scanner picks up reports of a gorilla-like figure near Sunray Casino, New Mexico, at 7 in the morning. A female sheriff's deputy calls in after pulling over a vehicle, confirming she also sees the creature crossing the road, her voice betraying clear unease.
Look how those toes appear to function almost like fingers. A lot of great information can be derived from this single photo. Thanks, Dave. Great job documenting this.
These areas, especially along the San Juan River, remain rich in sightings stretching from Colorado into Utah. Dave Oz sends Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization another photo from the area, adding more weight to ongoing claims. He elaborates on the documented evidence found along the San Juan River between Kirtland and Shiprock, New Mexico, dating back to August 2008. Although exact locations are kept private to protect future research, it's clear this river continues to be a corridor for Bigfoot activity.
It's Colorado all the way into Utah area. Between Farmington and downstream from Shiprock appears to be the hottest activity. Basically pick a spot and look around.
If you're fascinated by these accounts and want to stay updated on ongoing Bigfoot sightings and investigations,
Dave continued, "Thanks a lot, much appreciated. The mud may have held an accurate print. The good thing is there are more out there."
Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. What do you think? Are these sightings genuine, or is there another explanation behind these mysterious creatures? Let us know in the comments.
This one was the best, others more distorted and misshapen. I was with J.C. Johnson back then looking at a spot where a car had been driven off the road a few months.
Swan Lake Bigfoot is a YouTube channel famous for sharing personal experiences and encounters with Bigfoot in northwestern Alberta, Canada. The creator has been experiencing Bigfoot since 1972 and documenting these events publicly since 2019. Unlike many in the Bigfoot community who describe these beings as dangerous creatures, Swan Lake Bigfoot believes them to be gentle giants deserving respect. The channel's mission is to offer another side of the story, one of connection, understanding, and peaceful coexistence. In episode 2 of their series titled The Red Sasquatch, the focus is on gifting the White Birch Bigfoot clan, an experience that takes viewers deep into the forest and even deeper into this personal journey. Watch closely as evidence unfolds in real time. The episode begins on the eastern side of the road allowance, near an area known to the creator as the WBBC. This marks the setup of the second gifting bowl, a new site about a mile south of Coy's original gifting spot. The creator explains that they believe the Eastern clan may have guided them to this location.
Looking for a reef. Hello?
Looking back, every sign seemed to point toward this area. As they explore, they make vocal calls to the forest, inviting communication from any nearby beings.
Hello? I hear you.
The sky becomes overcast, adding an eerie stillness to the air. As they find a small trail that looks like a road, but is actually just a cut line leading deeper into the wilderness. Trees lay scattered across the trail, making it clear this is no place for regular human traffic. The atmosphere thickens as the creator drives slowly with their window down, listening carefully for signs. It's then that faint wood knocks and vocals echo from the forest. These are the small but telling moments that make the experience so compelling. Moving further south, about a mile away from Koi's gifting site, the creator continues searching for the right place to set up the bowl. Their slow drive, with the window rolled down, allows them to remain alert for any sounds or signals. A few quiet vocals are heard again, suggesting the Eastern clan may be nearby. Then, about 100 feet ahead, a wood knock breaks the silence. The sound draws them toward a new trail, unfamiliar territory where anything could happen.
And just as it was probably about 100 feet north from here, I heard a wood knock in here. And I come onto this trail.
As they step out and start walking, an odd vocal calls out once more. It feels as if something wants to make its presence known. The trail ahead is both mysterious and beautiful, with the rain having just stopped moments earlier. After waiting out the shower for about 15 minutes, they press on.
Yeah, that's different, see? You're talking to me. Hello?
Every step forward carries a sense of discovery. Watch this part closely for signs in the environment that hint at hidden life. After setting up the camera and placing the gifts, the creator gives a few whistles and gentle calls. They hope to attract the attention of the beings they believe are nearby. The forest remains quiet, save for the occasional sound of wind in the trees. Then, out of nowhere, they hear another distinct knock. They pause to listen. Acknowledging that something unseen may be observing from a distance. The atmosphere is both peaceful and charged with possibility. They step away briefly to retrieve more supplies, leaving the camera rolling in case something happens. This moment is worth watching, as the stillness of the forest seems almost too perfect. Later, they reflect on how the red Bigfoot, a female Sasquatch believed to be present, seems to have stayed with them the entire time. While setting up the gifting bowl, they repeatedly hear noises from behind the camera, but after checking every tree and branch above, they see no birds or animals that could have caused it. The sense of a hidden presence is overwhelming. This is not the first time they've felt accompanied, but each experience feels unique and personal. As they finish the setup, the weather shifts again.
All is quiet. Again, thank you all for being here. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the trees. Bye for now.
2 rain showers pass through during their time there, as if testing their patience and dedication. Listen closely as they describe hearing another vocal when leaving Koi's spot earlier in the day, reinforcing their belief that these beings are aware of their movements. Mo Sargi is a YouTube channel famous for its intense off-grid adventures and fearless explorations of the unknown. With over 2.8 million subscribers, Mo has become a trusted name for those seeking to escape the noise of everyday life and immerse themselves in raw, unfiltered wilderness expeditions. His videos often take viewers deep into forests, abandoned places, and icy mountains, searching for cryptids, paranormal encounters, and moments that test the limits of human courage.
What is up, Sergeants? Welcome back to our first winter camping video in the RV motorhome in the middle of literally no...
In one of his chilling winter camping expeditions, Mo heads into the frozen forests and mountains on a mission to find Bigfoot. The environment is harsh, temperatures hover around -5 degrees, but Mo is undeterred. He stands at the edge of an icy expanse, contemplating whether the ice is solid enough to hold his weight.
But what we're doing tonight is Bigfoot hunting. This area has had Bigfoot sightings a lot lately, and people have been talking about it. So we are actually going to be spending the night here.
Even though it's not the coldest day, he's cautious. The eerie silence is suddenly broken by an odd growl in the distance. Mo decides to sit quietly for a few moments, listening intently. Whatever made that sound hasn't repeated it, leaving an unsettling question hanging in the air.
Way out there. What the... Huh? That was a weird noise.
Mo wonders aloud whether it could be a moose, but the sound doesn't match anything he's heard before. The growl feels primal, something unnatural. As the hours pass, Mo's friend Chris starts building a makeshift shelter, despite them already having one. Mo hears something strange, something in the sky. There shouldn't be any planes out here. He remembers filming weird drones in New Jersey and now wonders if something similar is happening. They scan both the woods and the sky, now on high alert.
What? What happened? You heard something?
I heard something.
What did you hear?
Hours into their trek, Mo and Chris stumble across footprints in the snow. Mo had walked the area earlier, but not all of these prints are his. They follow them curiously as they head toward a nearby trail, but then abruptly stop.
Okay, so look, I see footprints, I think over there.
Where?
Continuing on, but we're actually literally in the lake right now.
Whoever made them turned around and left. Mo wonders if they got spooked by something. He and Chris stand at the edge of a frozen body of water, trying to decide whether to cross.
All right, let's just take it one step at a time. But just to show you guys, this is all ice.
Yeah.
We could have brought skates and skated this. Oh. Dude, that would be cool.
Mo cautiously steps onto the ice, testing its strength. It's solid, and they slowly move forward, choosing the edge for a safer path. They laugh about how un-Canadian it is to be so wary of ice, but the risk is real. Their goal is to get to the other side, and they figure it's shallow enough not to be dangerous if they fall in. Step by step, they cross the frozen expanse, joking about how they should have brought skates.
Look at this. Next video, skating on a lake.
Later in the night, Mo is behind the camera when something unexpected happens. As he pans across the frozen lake, he catches a glimpse of something strange. A figure appears to be standing on the ice in the distance, but as quickly as it appears, it vanishes. Mo's heart races.
We're about middle of the lake now.
He questions what he's seeing, struggling to trust his eyes in the disorienting landscape of white snow and dark shadows. The thick hat he's wearing makes it hard to hear clearly, but there's a sound, a deep, resonant voice. It's unsettling.
You heard that?
This Bigfoot hunting trip is turning into one of the most dangerous things he's ever done. Walking across a frozen lake at night, surrounded by deep silence and creeping fear, takes a mental toll. The snow and darkness distort his senses, making it hard to stay grounded. As they return to camp, Mo discovers something even more disturbing. Huge footprints right by their RV. These prints weren't there before.
Oh yeah, look at all these prints.
Oh my god.
Right by our... Dude, that's right by our freaking campsite.
Oh my god.
There's the RV right there. And look at all these ones.
They're massive, far larger than a human's, and they stretch all around their campsite. Mo and Chris can't figure out how they missed them earlier. They count at least 2 different sets of prints, and it's clear something enormous has been walking on the ice, stalking them without making a sound.
Like, we weren't expecting to walk on the ice, but look, there's 2 of them. Like something massive walking on the ice. Look at all these prints.
The realization is chilling. They know Bigfoot is said to be elusive, but now they're wondering if they've just had the closest encounter yet.
Look at this one. Oh, looks like a foot. That looks like an actual Bigfoot, dude. Oh my God. Bigfoot was definitely here. That's his footprint.
This chilling adventure shows why Mo Sargi's channel remains one of the go-to places for cryptid hunters and thrill seekers alike. Whether it's footprints, growls, or unexplained figures on the ice, Mo's explorations deliver genuine moments of fear and awe. Watch yourself. Something's always watching back. So, what do you think? Are we looking at the real deal? Or is this just another unsolved mystery waiting for answers? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to know if you're Team Bigfoot or Team No Way. And hey, if you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the unexplained. Until next time, watch your back. You never know who or what is out there.